don't know the power of a reaction.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
What is happening, Magnusites? It is time to laugh. Time to laugh. Let's check out the guy that I agree with 95% of the time. And even if I don't agree, I'm laughing off my black behind. That rhyme, don't hate the player, hate the game. Bars! Let's get it.
Star Wars and social media have always gone together like matches and gasoline. Whether it's people attacking or defending the prequel trilogy, criticising or canonising certain characters, or pretending that Rian Johnson's trilogy is ever going to happen. It seems like every single facet of the franchise, no matter how obscure or pointless, has become some kind of online battleground that people work themselves up into a frenzy of nerd rage over. Then along came the official Star Wars Twitter account with a jerry can of jellied napalm under each arm and promptly screamed, "Let's dance, motherfuckers!" Mother Nature just pissed her pantsuit!
I thought that's what that was.
They decided to take a few cherry-picked comments from random arseholes and spin it into a big flaming web of controversy, painting the entire fan base as terrifying ists and phobes. Now, you'd think they might have learned their lesson from the resulting backlash, but nope, the worst was yet to come. It all began the other day when they used Pride Month as a convenient opportunity to push one of their Star Wars comic books. I mean, we could sit here and debate the ethical considerations around hijacking a social political movement in order to guilt people into buying your shitty overpriced comic books, but let's just put that one aside for now. Fan reactions were split right down the middle, with some people supporting the tweet and others criticising it, and both parties taking the opportunity to take pot shots at each other. Just another day on Twitter then. But then a small account that I'll leave tactfully unnamed here because I'm sure he's had more than enough attention already, decided to pipe up with this relatively innocuous response. Now, to my mind, this seems like pretty good advice in general. I mean, last time I checked, Star Wars is an entertainment brand. They're supposed to be storytellers, filmmakers, purveyors of enjoyment, not a fucking political advocacy group. As a general rule, the more you explicitly state your political positions on important and controversial topics, the more of your potential customer base you tend to alienate. And when your theoretical goal as a profit-making company is to appeal to as wide an audience as possible, that doesn't seem like a particularly good policy to me.
Nope.
But, you know, it's that time of year when money-hungry corporations pretend to give a shit about stuff like this. Usually they'll make some highly visible but ultimately meaningless gestures like this one. People will give them a bit of flack, either for paying lip service to important social issues without taking any tangible action to support them, or for needlessly interjecting themselves into complex topics that they've got no business commenting on, and then everyone will move on with their lives. But not this time. For reasons best known only to themselves, the official Star Wars Twitter account with almost 6 million people behind it decided to respond to an account with only a handful of followers with this sick burn. Now, aside from being a pretty disingenuous representation of what the dude originally said, not to mention a pretty clumsy attempt at a witty comeback, it's also one of the most childish, petulant, and fucking unprofessional displays of stupidity that I've seen from a major corporation since, well, the last time the official Star Wars account pulled this shit. Here's the thing, boys and girls. When you're put in charge of a corporate social media account, you're not there to be an individual with views and opinions and fucking ridiculous emotional hang-ups. You're supposed to represent the company as an abstract entity. You're there to promote new products, highlight upcoming projects, shine a positive light on employees that have done something particularly special, and generally act as a shiny, infallible face of the corporation that you represent. You're not there to push your own political views and opinions, use your platform as a soapbox to preach and lecture people, and you're definitely not there to get into bitchy flame wars with random nobody accounts. That's the kind of stupid, egotistical shit that an individual does, but you're not there as an individual, you're a company. The other very obviously shitty facet of all this is that having millions of followers on social media brings with it some pretty heavy responsibilities.
Remember, with great power comes was great.
Shut up, Uncle Ben! Because if you get into a public spat with another account, then the sad reality is that a good portion of your followers are going to dogpile the shit out of them. Because that's how human psychology works on the internet. It's primitive tribalism on a global scale. And if someone from the outside attacks your tribe in a very public way, then you're going to want to lash out at them in return. There's a reason that massive accounts like yours are discouraged from punching down at Billy No-Mates with half a dozen followers. Not only does it unleash a tidal wave of hate against someone that totally isn't equipped or prepared to cope with it, but it also makes you look really fucking petty and immature. Jesus, even a mid-level YouTuber like me learned to exercise a bit of restraint when it comes to stuff like this, because I know what will happen if I clap back at the little accounts that take potshots at me. I have literally seen Twitter accounts vanish from the platform because of a single retweet. So you know what I do most of the time? I shut the fuck up and mind my own business. The point I'm making here is that when you get to a certain level, you're supposed to rise above this kind of petty, childish bullshit. When you've been given the responsibility of representing a massive company, you're supposed to put aside your own opinions and ego and just do your job. And the thing is, what does any of this actually accomplish? Does it make you feel good to totally own some random nobody that probably would have only got seen by a handful of people? Do you think this kind of thing is going to keep the plebs in line and discourage other people from criticizing you? And even if it does, why would you consider that any kind of a win? If the only reason people are praising you is because they're literally afraid to speak out against you, then you've already lost. You know, if only I could draw some kind of parallel with another massive, overbearing organization that enforces its will on others and ruthlessly stamps out dissenting voices. Nah, I've got nothing. This is exactly the reason that the atmosphere around franchises like Star Wars has become so fucking toxic, because of arseholes like this, who think it's a good idea to go to war with the very people they're supposed to be appealing to. It's a them and us mentality now. You're either with us, in which case you have to like and agree with everything we say and do to stay in our good graces, or you're against us, in which case we're going to shame and bully you into silence. The problem is, the more you do stuff like this, the more people that you'll turn against you. You might think that there's more of you right now, but my advice to you is this: give it time. There's already more of us than you think, and if you don't change course pretty soon, you're gonna find out there's fewer of you than you imagine.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
That was pretty strong there, drinker. That was a real strong shot there at the end, man. Yeah, you know, there's been a couple of times where in the past I've seen, and only on Twitter, where a really big account has replied to some people, and I think Wendy's actually replied to somebody for something one time, but it was really funny and worked, I think, from what I remember. I could be wrong. But, yeah, the Star Wars account, hasn't been doing too good lately with those replies. I tend to just ignore anything that I get on Twitter where people run their mouths. It's too much for me to spend my time coming back at people like that. You can't waste your time on things like that. It is what it is, though. Guess they're finding out now. Subscribe to The Critical Drinker. If you enjoyed my reaction, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share right here. 10 million subscribers.